Thank you and welcome back. If you don't already know me, my name is Ronald Snell and this is from our public speaking class. Now as you follow along, please remember to hit the next button on the PowerPoint slideshow when I say the word slide, or you see it on the outline. Let's get started. If we put somebody in jail, do they still have rights? Especially if their incarceration was for the possible conviction of a war crime that may or may not have been convicted against U.S.-led forces? Slide. Back in December of 2005 until June of 2006, I was deployed to Iraq on my second deployment when I was stationed at Camp Bucca. Camp Bucca, which is located in the southern part of the country, right on top of the Kuwaiti border. The mission at this base is detainee operations. Now I know that sounds a lot, but it's big and it's important. And nothing else comes first before this base. I mean nothing. While I was stationed at that base, I guess you can say I was dumbfounded at the amount of rights that the detainees had and were given. For example, we only had a limited amount of ice, and when I mean limited, I mean a couple of connexes that we had to use over a particular amount of time. Well, when it came time for the ice to be distributed, it went to the TIF, which stands for Theater Internment Facility, first. That meant it went to the detainees. Well, summer in Iraq was not a fun place, and when you had no cold water, it was worse. Slide. Let's start with what a detainee is. A detainee is somebody that I guess you can say is awaiting a conviction. Now, as far as Camp Bucca is concerned, that means they're waiting for the conviction of a possible war crime that they may or may not have committed. Some of the detainees that are held within Bucca are very smart. They're actually really intelligent. And I've seen where some of them could possibly be smarter than us. And I may have been proven before in the past. Another interesting footnote is that some of the detainees were actually incarcerated or detained within the walls of Camp Bucca for a 5 to 10 year sentence. They've been there just as long as they would have served the sentence in the U.S. But how do we determine what rights should be given? Do you think that it is possible that we have people that are locked up within Bucca that shouldn't be there? I do. There's people all the time that are incarcerated and jailed and detained for things they didn't do. It happens. It's a fact of life. Unjust fact of life, but it does. But still, how do we come to the conclusion as to what rights we give them? Does that mean they get cold water before I do? Slide. According to NATO and the Geneva Conventions, we are expected to follow a set of rules and regulations when it comes to the health and welfare of our detainees. And you know what? I totally agree. 100%, without a shadow of a doubt. But that shouldn't come before the health and welfare of our troops. Slide. Now, I'm not saying we should start starving and beating the detainees and prisoners, but do we still have an obligation to ensure each person is given basic human rights, even though other countries do not? That's the real question. Are there times that we cross that line? Are there times that we try to do the right thing and we try to be the bigger and the better country, but we actually take away the basic human rights that are deserved? Of course. Of course we do. Slide. One time was in Abu Ghraib. Everybody knows Afghanistan. Everybody knows what happens there. Because when we do something wrong, it's televised and publicized 1 million ways from Sunday, and it gets fixed and corrected, I guess you can say. Slide. Another time that is a place that's making the news as we speak is Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Everybody knows about that. That's President-elect Obama's first thing to do in office is to close that place down. Slide. Now, I know that we as Americans don't always do the right thing, but I do believe that at times we give way more than we should. Everybody, no matter who, should get at least the basic human rights, but at the same time, we should not be putting their lives before our own. Slide. As always, I want to say thank you for coming and have a wonderful day.